Well, hey everybody, welcome to today's video. I hope you're staying healthy through this crisis. I know it's beginning to hit close to home with us. We've got a couple friends now in the Charleston area who've contracted COVID-19, so it's starting to hit close to home for us around here. Hey, today what I want to do is I want to give you 3 types of questions that your church needs to be asking in this time of crisis. Okay, there's some personal questions, there's some fun questions, and then there are some hard questions. So here's some bad news and some good news, okay? The bad news is this crisis is going to accelerate the death rate of some churches in our country. It's also going to accelerate the decline rate of many churches in our country as well. Some churches are just going to lose attendance as a result of this. But good news is, some churches are going to grow because of this crisis. It's going to accelerate their growth. And then even better news, this crisis is also going to accelerate the multiplication of new church plants and the spread of the gospel across our country and across the world. All right. So it's not all bad news, but here's the thing. Here's something I've learned. Whenever you face challenge, or whenever you face crisis, you need to ask a lot of questions. You got to ask a lot of questions. So that's what I want to do today. I want to share with you 19 questions the church needs to be asking in light of this crisis. And years ago, I was facing a vision crisis with the organization I was leading. And I was walking down the beach and I was going, God, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? God, what should I do? Give me an answer, give me an answer. And God whispered in my soul and he said, Mac, if you ask me the right questions, I'll give you the right answers. I ran back to my hotel room. I wrote down a bunch of questions and I used that as my prayer time to just talk to God during that time. And it was an amazingly powerful time where God began to reveal to me the things that he wanted me to do. Same thing can happen for you as you lead your church. So let me give you some personal questions first. Let's start with personal questions. Here's a few questions, and these questions are designed to help you grow personally through this time. First, God, what do you want to teach me about my character through this time? Second, God, what do you want to teach me about my leadership competencies through this time? Third question, how should I be using my time differently to maximize the opportunity that I have in front of me? This is a big question I'm asking right now because I travel almost every week, but my travel has been canceled, all but one trip, all the way through August. So I'm asking, God, how do you want me to leverage this time? How do I maximize it? Next question, what attitudes and actions am I displaying that I want others around me to emulate? What attitudes or actions am I displaying that I want others to emulate? Next question, what attitudes and actions am I displaying that I don't want others to emulate? All right, remember, you set the pace for your team. You establish the culture of your team, and that is established through your attitudes and through your actions. Next question, am I depending more on the voice of God during this time, or am I listening more to the voice of others during this time? What others have to say is very important. There's some great things being said, but make sure you don't just jump on their ideas, jump on God's customized ideas for you. Okay, so those are some personal questions. Let's get to some fun questions. All right, here's some fun questions, and I'll post these on my blog as well. Fun questions are going to help you innovate. They're going to help you innovate. All right, here's first fun question. What can we try during this time we've never tried before? Use this time to do some R&D. People are very forgiving during this time. They'll put up with some bad ideas. Next question. How can we leverage this time to increase our missional activity and our evangelistic impact of our church? This is a huge opportunity. People are hurting. People are scared, and they're open. They want to hear what God has to say. They want to hear what the Bible has to say. So capitalize on this. Next question, how can we leverage this time to reshape the culture of our church? If you didn't catch my video yesterday, I did a whole video on that one, so go back and check that out from yesterday's video. Next question, how can we leverage this time to unify our team? There's nothing like a crisis to unify a team together. You feel like you're fighting a battle together, so use this time to unify your team. I love this question. All right, what are new strengths and gifts that are emerging in our people that we've never seen before, and how are we going to leverage those moving forward? People are going to be showing you some new stuff, so leverage these things. Next question. What is something fun we can do to engage our people relationally, even though there's distance between us? I've seen churches doing online bingo. The push-up challenge is spreading like crazy. So what are some things you can do? Throw some things out there that are fun. One church is doing bedtime stories for kids. And so you can tune in and somebody reads a bedtime story. Just do some fun things like that to engage people during this time. And then one more fun question. What changes did you make during this crisis that need to carry over when the crisis is over? All right, so good questions to think through. Those are fun. Now let me give you some hard questions. These are hard questions, okay? These are going to force wise decisions. All right, this is what hard questions do. If the death of your church is accelerated because of this crisis, you're not going to make it through, you're going to have to close the doors of your church. Here's the question you need to ask. How can we leverage the assets that we have for greatest kingdom impact? I'm going to tell you something. The greatest temptation will be to make a politically correct decision and do what people want to do or what people think should be done. But ask yourself, what assets? Is it a building asset? Is it cash reserves that you have? Is it equipment that you have? How can you leverage that? If your church shuts down, how can you leverage those for the biggest kingdom impact? Take that question seriously. Next question, if the decline of your church is accelerated through this, what do you need to stop doing in your programming so that you can do less and do it better? Do less and do it more effectively, and that could help turn some things around. Third question, what needs to change in our church's strategy in order to accomplish our church's mission? Your strategy moving forward and how you accomplish your mission may have to change. It may have to change in light of how culture is going to change. So it's a hard question. Think it through. If you've not read the book Church Unique by Will Mancini, get that book, read it through. It'll really help you with that. All right. Next question. If our church grows as a result of this, how can we start developing leaders now before we can reconvene? How can we start developing leaders now and prepare for the growth that's coming? Next hard question. If our church grows through this, how can we leverage this for multiplication, not just addition? Don't just think addition. Bigger's not better. Multiplication's better. So think about that. Next question. How can our church selflessly and sacrificially bless young church planters in this season? Look around. Who are the young church planters in your community? How can you bless them and be sacrificial about it? All right, next question. Who are some of the best leaders in your church that you can send as missionaries or to serve another church plant or start another church? Maybe it's a micro church, maybe it's a house church, maybe it's a typical church plant. But who are the best leaders that you can send in this season? And then the next question, what did this crisis show about our leadership depth? What did it show us about the bench depth of our leadership of our church? And what do we need to do to deepen the bench of our leaders in the future? So guys, during this time of crisis, make sure you're asking more questions and listening to the voice of God, not just listening to others' voices, but ask a lot of questions. And it's one of my favorite spiritual practices. Just write down 4 or 5 questions and go before God, and in a prayer time for an hour, just ask God those questions and ask Him to speak to you, and He will reveal some things to you. But here's the key. You got to listen and you got to respond. Hey, I hope this is helpful. Again, I'll post these questions on my blog so you can have easy access to them. Choose some of these and discuss them with your team, and hopefully these will help you move forward. Thanks, guys, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.